Hey, my beautiful Momplex community. How are you? Welcome back to the podcast. I am so happy to be here talking with you today. We're going to be talking about something really important, and that's the 5-letter word, stress. Stress. I called this episode Stress, the Good, the Bad, and the Way Out, because I think stress, bless its heart, it's getting a bad name. It's getting a bad rap. And if we were really going to break it down, stress really is when our body is in a fight or flight response. And if our body is in a fight or flight response, it's trying to keep us alive. It's trying to do what it wants to do to keep us safe. But in this modern day era, with us modern day humans, we're living in stress 24/7. And while stress has some benefits, it has a lot of good. We're going to talk about that today. It's not meant to be on repeat. We're not meant to become used to, accustomed to, comfortable with living in fight or flight. So what I want to talk to you today is just a little stress 101, a little reminder about stress. I think a lot of us throw it around like, I'm so stressed, they're so stressed, it's got me stressed out. But I do want us to really understand that we have a lot more control over how much stress we're walking around with. And we can see stress as something that's going to help us create the life that we want. But I want us to also learn how to manage stress, because I would bet whatever physical ailment you're dealing with right now, while it's on the surface and it probably doesn't feel like it is connected to stress, it's probably just like Kevin Bacon. It's probably 6 degrees of separation between that ailment and stress and Kevin Bacon, So the stress, the good, the bad, and the way out. So welcome back to the podcast. My name is Scotty. Just to give you a quick reminder of who I am that badass mom who is literally rooting for you from the sidelines, telling you to go after everything you've ever wanted, give yourself permission. Don't judge yourself, love yourself, and know that you've got me right there, literally cheering you on. I am a Southern Belle. I am a mom of 3. I am a certified intuitive. I'm a certified health and life coach. And I also have a trucker's mouth. So if you listen to this with kids, this is your disclaimer that I do drop a couple of F-bombs. But I want you to know that I get it. So much of what I'm talking to you about because I've either needed to figure it out on my own, or it's something that I've gone through. And when I'm pouring my heart out onto this podcast, I'm trying to save you a lot of fucking time. I'm trying to literally give you a blueprint so that you can, with your own intuition, decide what makes the most sense for you to focus on, what is a hit, what is not. And you get to go out there and take this information and use it to the best of your ability to crush your life. And so that's why today we're going to do a quick dive into stress, what it is, why it's not all bad, and how we can learn to manage it. Because when you learn how to manage your stress, you can learn to improve your health from the inside out. And then you realize, oh my gosh, I have so much more power over how I feel as I'm moving through my life than I gave myself credit for. And if I don't feel as good as I want to feel, I can fucking do something about that. I don't have to wait till someday. I can start doing that today. And that's honestly too, a lot of my mission is for us to turn off autopilot and stop waiting till our kids are older. Stop waiting for something else to happen outside of us before we feel happy. I want us to start learning how to make ourselves happy from the inside out as we're working toward all those goals and all those dreams. We all know that stress is everywhere in adult, human, and particularly mom life. If you're anything like me, you probably could live in stress 24/7, barely even noticing that you're even in stress anymore. Your baseline now might actually be stress, because we get used to it and our tolerance changes and we become accustomed to things. And so all of a sudden we don't even realize how freaking stressed out we are. And here's what's so interesting. We're going to dive into this, but when you're in stress, you only have 50% of you showing up to the game, walking up to the plate, ready to hit the home run. When you learn how to manage your stress, turn off your stress, lower your stress, 100% of you then gets to show up for life. Do you know how different your results will be if you have 100% of you showing up to go after life versus 50%? And if you're feeling mediocre, If you're walking around kind of sluggish, brain fog, headache, exhausted, always sick, battling something, tight shoulders, tight jaw, hair falling out, all these things. I mean, if you're sitting here thinking that this is just fucking mom life, sorry, truth mom, it is not. You do not have to feel like shit in order to be your best self in any area of your life. So I want us to just shine the light on what we are allowing to be, quote, normal, and to give yourself a chance to step back and say, is my normal good enough for me? Or do I want a better baseline? And looking at your stress level is a great place to start. Thing is, stress can be a good thing. It's not meant to be our constant companion. So what exactly is stress? Stress is your body's way of keeping you safe. I don't know how else to say it. It is that instinct that kicks in when danger is near. And danger, the way, if you really think about evolution, we needed stress back when we were cavemen to tell us when you need to leave your safe cave to go out there and gather food for your family, I need you to be prepared when that woolly mammoth is coming out after you. That's danger. Today's danger, very different. Danger could be opening up an email and getting some bad news from your boss. Danger could be that your kid is leaving the house for the very first time on their bike to ride to school. Maybe danger is finding out that a friend lied to you, or that danger is, social media or some sort of confrontation with somebody that you love, or somebody, road rage. There's a lot of things that could cause a stress response, but it's not life or death. Not the way that it was back. I mean, I'm not saying that we don't ever have tough situations. I'm talking about your run-of-the-mill, regular day of the week. So it's amazing. If you have a stress response, congratulations. It means you're alive and your body loves you and it's trying to keep you safe. That instinct that kicks in for survival when danger is near. It gives you a burst of energy. It gives you a very specific focus and strength. I mean, literally, imagine you're back in the days of the saber-toothed tigers. Stress was the thing that got you running. It's here to help us, but we're not running from woolly mammoths and tigers anymore. And stress isn't meant to be a permanent state of life. So it's really, think about, I love to imagine that I'm in the control room in NASA and I'm about to help the spaceship literally burst out from Earth all the way out into the atmosphere and it's about to go explode. That to me is like, I don't know why this is where my brain goes, but I imagine this huge board of lights lit up. And as they're flipping all the switches, getting ready for the engines on the rocket to start, they're turning on, and all these lights are lighting up and the whole board is just like Christmas lights lighting up. Think about that as your stress. When you're stressed, every light is turned on, every single one. And all of your energy, all of your oxygen, all of your white blood cells, all of the stress cortisol is like spiking. All the hormones being released from your brain are literally there to help you fight to the death. Wonderful. Because if you need to fight to the death, that is wonderful. And so it can be good. Stress can be our friend. It keeps us on our toes. It helps us stay motivated. And it definitely protects us when we're in danger. Think of that last minute surge to finish a project, or the way your senses go on high alert when your child is sick. You can hear it like, supersonic hearing. Stress steps in to help you get through, to help you fight through, to help you battle through. In those moments, it's like your body is saying to you, girl or human, I've got this. But here's the catch. Our bodies need to recover. When stress becomes our default setting, it's like leaving that whole board of lights on 24/7. Eventually, the bulb is going to burn out. So while it is a good thing when we need it, we want to notice when we're in stress so we can decide, do I still need it? Because the problem is we can get so used to stress that we don't even realize we're living in it. Your stress state is now how you wake up and move through your day. So you're always in that mode where you're ready to focus on the danger and get those last minute surges. And so your central nervous system is completely lit up and you have a ton of cortisol, the stress hormone, pumping through your body. Everything is good in moderation. Just like they say, it's nothing wrong with eating French fries or ice cream. I'm an 80-20 kind of gal. 80% of the time I am clean as fuck. 20% of the time Gosh, it's hard to beat a good mint chocolate chip ice cream, right? Stress is the same thing. Cortisol is the same thing. Cortisol is good when we need it 20% of the time, but it's not meant to be pumping through our bodies 80 or 100% of the time. That's why you're always seeing all these things. How do we help with cortisol? You hear about things like cortisol neck, cortisol face, cortisol hair, cortisol this. I mean, everything in our body has a purpose, but nothing in our body except our breathing and our heart should be on 24/7, right? But the problem is we're getting so used to stress and our senses that we don't even realize that that's how we're living all the time. Our tolerance builds and suddenly stress just feels normal. And even though you're used to it, it is doing a number on you physiologically because this constant state of high alert, it's not good for us. Over time, it wears us down physically, emotionally, mentally. And there are real physiological effects that take place. I mean, you've heard me talk about it, but it's from anywhere from like insomnia, digestive problems, irritable bowel syndrome, hair loss, skin changes, not being able to lose weight, not being able to gain weight. I mean, over time, your body starts to shut down and it wears us down. No matter how tough you think you are, stress will catch up to you eventually. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So how can you tell? How can you tell you're in it neck deep? How can you tell if you're in the stress quicksand? Look out for signs like this. Feeling constantly drained or on edge, even if you've gotten, by a miracle, a 9-hour sleep the night before. And start to notice your body physically communicating with you. Symptoms like headaches, muscle tension. And I don't just mean, I understand we carry heavy bags and we're carrying kids around and we've got a lot on our shoulders. But when it starts to become that you're tense all the time and you can almost feel it like in the back of your jaw, in your shoulders, like if you cannot ever, like if you always feel like your shoulders are up by your ears, and if you have trouble sleeping. Also, snapping at your kids and your partner over the littlest things. It's as if your patience bucket is bone dry. There's nothing in it. Difficulty focusing. You always have brain fog. You're always just feeling really groggy, constantly craving sugar, things to cope, to get you through the day. Sugar, caffeine, other quick fixes just to basically get from one moment to the next. And I mean, little things like, can you sit down to eat your food? Can you take a deep breath? Can you, feel like, can you actually sit back and be calm in a chair? Or do you always have to be moving and racing and this and that? Like, is there a pace of life that you're living at that is a very, very high pace of life? And if for some reason your life gives you a chance to put your feet up, you literally cannot. You literally cannot. If any of these sound familiar, it's a big clue that you're living in stress mode and that's become your norm. So how can we use stress without letting it use us or rule us? It's not something stress. I feel sorry for stress because I think it's getting a real bad rap where it's always, she's such a bitch. I'm so done with stress. Fuck her. I don't want any more stress. But the thing is, stress is actually there to keep us alive. She has a very specific job and she's doing it because she loves you so gosh darn much, right? So it's not something we always want to turn off instantly. It's about learning to let it do its job and knowing when to release it. And that right there is, if you take away anything from this episode, I just want you to understand what is available to you. It is possible for you to love stress and for you to allow it to do the job for you that it should and you deserve for it to do, but then knowing when to release it and how to release it. So here are a couple ways I want you to notice and manage the stress so it serves you instead of draining you and running the show. Number one, and honestly, this I want you to do just regardless of your level of stress. Check in with your body every single day. Your body is your greatest source of information to let you know how you are doing. You can't avoid the messages from your body, okay? So I want you to get into a habit every single day. Maybe find a time, if it's in the morning or in the evening, where you feel like you've got 10 to 30 seconds on your own. You can even do it while you're sitting on the toilet, okay? If you're sitting in carpool line. I want you to pause, close your eyes, and ask yourself, how am I really feeling? And I want you to do a body scan from the top of your head. And I want you to go down everything, all the way, like your eyeballs, your head, your jaw, your throat, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your stomach. I'm talking about everything. Like I want you to go through, notice any tightness, a racing heart, shallow breaths, any pain. Because let me tell you, pain is not normal. It is a sign that something is turned off and that something is off balance. But when you start this dialogue to turn in, it can give you a clue if stress is lingering. Number 2, take a breath seriously, because breathing, conscious breathing, can actually turn off stress. Because when we are in fight or flight, stress can get you breathing very fast and very shallow, which is telling your brain that you're still in danger mode. So if your brain thinks you're still in danger mode, it is still releasing the hormone cortisol. And if you still have cortisol pumping through your body is still in fight or flight. And now you have too much cortisol in your body. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist, but there is a whole ripple effect. When you have more cortisol in your body than your body technically needs or knows what to do with it, it starts being stored in certain areas of your body, just like when we eat too much sugar, right? Eventually, our body can't keep using it if it's constantly being produced. So take a deep breath. I'm serious. When you try a few slow, deep breaths, it's your signal to your brain, to your body that it's okay to relax. It's actually what turns off the sympathetic nervous system, stress, and turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, non-stress. I mean, even just thinking about breathing, it's making me relax. It's so good. Plus, as busy humans, we often forget to breathe. And it's so good to just take that deep, deep breath. You will love the way it feels. 3, move your body. Stress gets stored in our muscles. So a quick stretch, walk, even dancing it out can help release it. There's somatic stretches you can also do that help release cortisol. And it is a massive thing. In fact, this is why a lot of experts will say things like stretch before bed, because it's helping you release all that pent up stress. Stretch before bed, because it's helping you release all that pent up stress and cortisol and helping you work it through your body. So then your body gets out of stress into non-stress and relax and calms down, and then you sleep better. Number 4, set boundaries. If you are constantly stressed by demands around you, it's time to draw some freaking lines. Nobody else is coming to set boundaries for you, and nobody's ever going to break a routine. So if you're in a habit with a relationship, a partner, kids, a family member, coworker, where you are always taking on the burden and always picking up the slack and always taking on more, they will never challenge that habit or that routine. The only person that can change your capacity and your tolerance is you. You can change how you show up. You can change your boundaries and you can change your tolerance, but no one is going to change their shit unless you ask them to. It's just how human nature is. So if you are feeling constantly stressed, it's a good thing to look around. Where am I letting life and other people walk all over me? And where can I set some boundaries? Protect your time. Protect your energy. They're freaking precious. You're precious. They're amazing resources. We're responsible for that. So if you are lacking in time and energy and have too much stress, you can do something about that, but it's up to you. Nobody else is going to do that for you. Number 5, mind your thoughts. Because sometimes stress starts with our own head and our own thoughts. So notice if you're piling on the shoulds, the what ifs, the worst case scenarios, and gently tell yourself, I don't need to solve that right now. There's a lot that we put on ourselves, and just be mindful of how you are talking to yourself, how you are thinking, because our own thoughts determine our results, period. So if you're in extra stress, notice how you might be actually aiding to that with your own mindset. And then once you start to notice, I want you to start noticing your day where you start to feel the most triggers, where you start to feel your heart racing, your jaw clenching, your breathing shallow, and your mind racing, right? Because those are signs that you're in a stress state. And then I want you to notice, do I need to be ready to fight to the death in this moment? Help me get through this moment. And then I want to do some things to help me get out of this stress, right? So how do you turn off stress? When stress has served its purpose, we want to turn it off so our bodies and our minds can rest. So here's some tips. I'm going to close out this episode, which are excellent. If you want to just even hit pause, rewind, and listen to these tips again. They're massive. Schedule downtime. And if you tell me right now, I'm too busy, I don't have downtime, I want you to actually DM me on Instagram right now. And you and I are going to hop on a call and we're going to go through your 24-hour schedule. I swear to you, I will be able to find you some downtime. That if you believe you don't have downtime, that's that thing I was talking about. Mind your thoughts. Because if you're telling yourself that you don't have time for yourself, you don't deserve time for yourself, guess what? You will never have time. But if once you give yourself permission to have unstructured time where you don't have to be, quote, on all the time, all of a sudden you'll start to find it. Number 2, do something that brings you joy. You are not here just to be a robot and a machine and a Stepford wife. You're not here just to be a doormat for life and your kids and your partner and your job. You are a human being and you deserve to have some freaking fun. This could be reading. This could be cooking. This could be watching a Hallmark holiday movie. This could be laughing at a funny video with your kids. Anything that reminds you that life is more than just managing tasks and doing shit. Number 3, get enough fucking sleep. Sleep is the ultimate stress reset. I know you are you're such a stickler when it comes to your kids' sleep. Do that for yourself. I don't even want to say anymore. I've talked about sleep so many times on this podcast. Get some fucking sleep. Prioritize it. Boom. That's all I have to say. And also, number 4, practice some gratitude. Even in chaos, finding one small thing to be thankful for can remind you that stress does not define everything and that you don't have to live that way all the time. It's just, and if the gratitude thing is making you roll your eyes because you're not quite there yet, I'm fine. But at least get some fucking sleep. Do one thing a day that brings you some joy and allow yourself to put your feet up. Okay? You're a human being. Not to mention, your kids are watching. So if you are allowing yourself to be moving through life fully on stress with no boundaries, they will learn that blueprint. So model what you would want, what you wish and would want for them. All right. So to wrap up, stress is a tool, but it's not your lifestyle. So it is here to help you, but it's not meant to be in the driver's seat 24/7. So when you start to notice your stress, use it and then turn it off. That is a massive skill. And it's going to be one that pays off and it's going to help you with your physical health. I'm telling you, if you are having irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, if your hair is freaking falling out, if you look more tired than usual, if you have bags under your eyes, if you can't sleep, if you can't eat, if you can't stay focused, you're in brain fog, I would absolutely challenge that your number one problem right now is the amount of stress that you're walking around with. Stress is probably one of the greatest causes to our quick aging, to our decline in our health. And even if you can't see it on the surface, it is doing a number on the inside. And you deserve better than that, right? You deserve to feel freaking amazing. Okay. I took a deep breath. Whew. When you start to notice your stress, start to appreciate what it is here for you to do, when you realize where you are in terms of managing it, you can actually do something about it and it will pay off. You will have more calm. You will have more inner peace. You will get through your to-do list so much faster. You will sleep better. You'll have better health. You'll have energy to do the things that you really love. Save this episode, mama, because it's here for you whenever you need a reminder to check in, to breathe, and take back control from that stress. You've got this. And remember, I'm right here cheering you on every step of the way. You're amazing.